Okay, let's talk about back pain. You know, that constant, nagging problem that affects so many of us, but we're gonna come at it from a totally different angle, one you probably haven't thought of before.
So, first off, a quick question for you. Just think about your typical day. Are you at a desk, in your car, on the couch? Do you spend a lot of time just sitting? If you're nodding right now, you are definitely not alone. It's pretty much the default for most of us these days.
And does that day often end with that familiar, nagging, just dull ache deep in your lower back? You know the one. It just sits there no matter how much you try to stretch it out or shift around in your chair. Look, it's not just you. Mechanical low back pain is one of the biggest musculoskeletal complaints out there. It's kind of like a modern epidemic, really, born from our modern way of life. But what if I told you the problem isn't actually where you feel the pain?
That's right. For so many of us, the real source of that chronic ache isn't our spine. It's coming from somewhere else entirely. The real culprit is actually hiding in plain sight.
So, allow me to introduce the true main character of this story. Because this isn't really a story about your back. It's a story about your body's true powerhouse, your glutes. Yep, the glutes. We tend to think of them one way, but their most important job has nothing to do with how they look. They are a group of 3 incredibly strong muscles that are absolutely essential for how we move, how we stay stable, and how we support our entire upper body. Think of this powerhouse as a team of 3. You've got the gluteus maximus, that's the big engine, the one that gives you all that power. Then you have the medius and minimus, which are like the expert navigators, controlling all that side-to-side motion and keeping you balanced. Together, they're supposed to be the rock-solid foundation for almost every move you make. But here is the problem. All that sitting we just talked about, it's basically like singing a constant lullaby to this amazing powerhouse. We're telling it to just take a nap. And when your strongest player is asleep on the job, guess what? Everybody else has to work overtime. Now, the official term for this is gluteal inhibition, and the key phrase to notice here is neuromuscular issue. This isn't just about having weak muscles. It's about the connection, the phone line between your brain and your glutes getting all fuzzy and full of static. They literally forget how to turn on properly because we just don't ask them to anymore. So, how in the world does a sleepy muscle in your butt cause a screaming pain in your back? Well, it turns out it's a very predictable and kind of damaging chain reaction. This lays it out perfectly. It's a domino effect. It starts with sitting. Your glutes basically check out. So now, when you need to do something simple like stand up or walk, your body has to find another way to get the job done. It calls in the B team, your hamstrings and the small muscles in your lower back. The thing is, they weren't designed to be the primary movers, so they get overloaded, which creates all this stress, and boom, that's where the pain comes from. So if you take away one thing, let it be this. Your back hurts because it's overworked. It's like a loyal employee trying to do its own job plus the job of the much bigger, stronger employee who's decided to take a nap in the break room. Okay, so that's the problem. And I know it sounds a little complicated, but the truly good news here is that the solution is shockingly simple. We don't need fancy equipment or some crazy procedure. We just need to wake up that sleeping giant. All we have to do is reestablish that connection between the brain and the muscle. We need to send a clear signal to the glutes and remind them what their job is, to be the engine, to be the core stabilizers for our entire body. And we can start that wake-up call right now with 2 incredibly powerful yet really simple foundational moves that you can do absolutely anywhere. No equipment needed. Okay, first up is the glute bridge. If you want to isolate and activate your glutes, especially that big gluteus maximus, this is pretty much the gold standard. Now, how you do this really matters. You're going to lie on your back, knees bent. Before you even move an inch, brace your core like you're about to get punched in the gut. Then, and this is the key, drive through your heels, not your toes. Lift your hips up until you're a straight plank from your shoulders to your knees. And right at the very top, pause and just squeeze your glutes as hard as you can for a solid second or 2. Then, come back down slowly. That squeeze at the top, that's the wake-up call. And hey, be careful to avoid these classic mistakes. If you feel it in your lower back, you're arching too much. Keep that core tight. If you feel it more in the back of your legs, in your hamstrings, you're probably pushing with your toes instead of your heels. And please, don't just rush through it. The magic is in that slow, controlled movement and that really intentional squeeze. All right, so our second move is going to target the other members of the glute team, those important stabilizers, the medius and minimus. And for that, we have the lovely and very appropriately named fire hydrant. So for this one, you'll start on your hands and knees. And the whole trick here is to keep your body absolutely still. Don't rock side to side, don't tilt your hips. The only thing that should move is the one leg you're lifting out to the side. It's a small movement, and it should come entirely from your hip joint. That's how you know you're waking up those smaller but super important glute muscles.
So you see, these aren't just a couple of random exercises. This is really about completely rethinking and rebuilding your body's foundation from the ground up. This right here is the biggest takeaway. A stable, pain-free back isn't actually built by focusing on the back itself. It's built on a foundation of strong, active, and correctly firing glutes. They are the true core of your stability.
And this gets us to a really powerful idea from the research. We have to get out of the habit of just chasing the pain, stretching our back, rubbing the sore spot, and instead we need to address the root cause. This is about fixing the fundamental mechanical problem, not just putting a Band-Aid on the symptom.
So the next time your back starts to ache after a long day of sitting, I want you to think differently. Don't just think about your spine. Think about your foundation. It's there, it's powerful,